ounce of energy at your disposal to help us rebuild the infrastructure of the Pan-African movement. I want you to use every ounce of your energy to help us rebuild the structure of Black America, the Black Caribbean, Black South America, Black...
We was Kangs. Do I have to say it again? Hello. Welcome back to another video. We are back again. Sorry, my hair's wet. I just got out of the shower and I didn't feel like blow drying it because it's already fried from me putting a box dye on there. So I figured I won't put it through any more hell than it's already endured. But anyway, we are back again with another video. Today we are going to be looking at some videos from Dr. Omar. And the reason why we're bringing him up, I think he's a Black Hebrew Israelite. Pretty sure. And if you know anything about Black Hebrew Israelites, they are like the founding fathers of the We Was Kangs movement, okay? They believe in Wakanda. They're pretty based on the Jays, but that's about it. They kind of fall short when they're like, we was the Jays. Okay, I don't know why anyone would want to be a Jay, but all right, whatever you say. Whatever you say. Anyway, let's take a look at this whole video. One of the interesting things to note about Black Hebrew Israelites is they really do hate white people. Like they discourage race mixing, not from a base perspective, but because they hate white people, right? On that point, I actually agree with them. You should keep your bloodline pure, but the reasoning for it on their end is like this whole weird quagmire of Black power and whatever, everything that if white people engaged in, and if white people said the same things Black Hebrew Israelites said, they would be cast out of civil society forever. They wouldn't be able to work. They wouldn't be able to have a voice. They wouldn't be able to make money, and they would not have a platform. So that just goes to show a little bit of the double standard we're dealing with. But let's just jump right into this video and see what Dr. Omar, I don't know how to pronounce his name, has to say.
I didn't say you got to mistreat them. I didn't say you got to hate them. You got to understand them. That's all, brothers and sisters. When you see a pit bull dog, do you hate the pit bull? No. But you know that pit bull got some tendencies that you don't necessarily want to evoke, so you keep your distance from the pit bull. You don't hate the pit bull. I love snakes. But guess what? I know snakes got certain types of natural...
So you know he's comparing white people to pit bulls right now. And snakes now as well. Sorry, I've got a Zen in because I'm trying to get off nicotine, and apparently trying a different form of nicotine helps. But yeah.
Tendencies that I don't necessarily want to find myself on the wrong side of, so I keep my distance from the snakes. So I'm not telling you to hate white folks. I don't teach hate. I'm telling you to understand your enemy and know when your behavior needs to be adjusted so that you don't fall victim to the enemy. That's what I teach. I don't teach hatred. Hatred is energy. I want you to use every ounce of energy at your disposal to help us rebuild the infrastructure of the Pan-African movement. I want you to use every ounce of your energy to help us rebuild the structure of Black America, the Black Caribbean, Black South America, Black Australia, Black England, Black Canada, Black Africa. I don't want you wasting time hating white folks. That's valuable energy. That's valuable energy. Why the hell will I tell you to hate your enemy? If hating your enemy was going to solve your problems, we'd be free already. I will never teach hate. I ain't got to hate my enemy, but I got to understand my enemy, and I got to defeat my enemy. I do not have to hate him. If you've ever taken martial arts, if any of you have ever taken martial arts, one of the first things they teach you in martial arts, and I took Taekwondo right here in the streets of North Philadelphia as an elementary school student. In Taekwondo, the first thing the instructor teaches you, your emotions are never to be wasted on your opponent. Your emotions are to be channeled into constructive activity. Your emotions are never supposed to be wasted on your opponent. Your emotions are supposed to be channeled into constructive activity.
Okay, we get it. I've heard enough of this ranting. What I love is that he's saying white people are the enemy, you know? Oh, really? Have you ever checked out the stats on black on white crime? It's staggering, actually. And then you reverse that and you look up the stats for white on black crime, and it's basically non-existent. And then you can look at black on black crime, and it seems like black people are their own worst enemies because that's through the roof as well. The reason why I'm bringing this video up is because we're all vindicated. At the end, whites win. I'm not joking. That's a joke, of course. But the whole thing is, this guy's whole thesis is that black people are better than white people. White people are the enemy. They're snakes. They're dogs. And you need to avoid white people at all costs and just do dealings and just work with black people. Well, if anybody knows how that is, I mean, if I said that's not the best policy, I would get canceled for being racist. Actually, good luck with that, because I've already been canceled and it didn't work, okay? It didn't work. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and this is true. This is the attitude to have going forward. Cancel me. Cancel me. Keep trying to cancel me. You're just making me stronger. I'm just building my, like that fragrance guy, power! Okay, so the reason why I bring this video up is because of this. He basically proves all of our points and vindicates us all. Because this is what he found when he was only going to work with white workers, or black workers rather. He was only going to employ blacks. He was only going to surround himself with blacks. And it seems like it didn't really turn out for him as he had hoped.
After waiting 4 years on black people, I decided to start hiring whites. And guess what? They did in 1 year what the black people couldn't do in 5. White people overcharged us too, but they finished the work. But let me give you this though, and I can say this now because I'm over it. FDMG to almost every black contractor we ran into was nothing but a hustle and a way to get a quick bag. When I look back, they simply used us to get money. They didn't care about me. They didn't care about their school. They didn't care about our kids. We were just a quick hustle. Before we got to school, people was all over the internet saying, as soon as you get to school, we're gonna do the work for free. Y'all probably heard that. Once you get to school, I'm gonna do the plumbing for free. Once you get to school, nobody did anything for free. That was all cash.
Well, you don't know, or you don't say. Shocking. I could have never made that prediction. I could have never told in a million years that if you only hire black contractors and you only surround yourself with black people who, if you look at these civilizations they've created, well, they're still living in mud huts. So there is that. There is that. Whitey does contribute something to society, like society itself, like a safe society that people can't wait to move to. People move in droves to the United States and other Western countries, and then all they do is complain incessantly about racism. Well, it must be pretty good here if you're willing to put up with all that racism to live here, and that's thanks to white people. If you look at South Africa, what's going on there, they basically kicked out all the white people. That's why we have some refugees coming here, which, by the way, the media was flipping out about the 40 families that came here. It was like 40 to 60 families who came, because they're like the only ones left, because they were wiped. They were literally genocided in South Africa. And now what are they doing? Well, they're using apartment shafts, escalator shafts as dumpsters. They're pulling out all the wiring and the electricity out to sell the wiring. So now they don't have electricity, they don't have clean water, and they are using the elevator shafts as trash bins. Yeah. So just like Dr. Omar said himself, maybe Whitey does contribute something, you know? And maybe you should get off your little black power soapbox a little bit and just stop seeing people as the enemy and maybe start seeing yourself as the problem. That'd be a great place to start. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies again that my hair's all wet, but I'm too lazy to blow dry it, and that damages it, right? Almost as damaging as hiring a person of color as your contractor. Anyway, have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.
Animal qui vit parmi nous. Étranger? Oh. Non, merci pas, non.
Massive W. Take the crown, king. The only correct answer. That is the correct answer. That's why you see the rise in pedophilia. That's why you see crimes against children skyrocketing. That's why you hear about it every other day. It's actually common now to hear about it. It's not a horrific thing that you heard that maybe happened once every 10 years. It's happening all the time now because there are no real consequences for people who commit these crimes against children. But they have no problem throwing you and I under the bus, throwing Daniel Pinney under the bus when they stand up for somebody, when they're an actual hero.
Former Trump White House official and political commentator Cameron Kinsey, along with the host of the Relatable podcast, Ali Beth Stuckey. Cameron, to you first. I would be remiss if I did not hand you a bottle of water to keep you hydrated.
I'm surprised you don't have a seatbelt for me in this chair.
We thought about it, and we thought about putting a whole bunch of pillows around there. Cameron, as you can see, is gloriously upright and well. No thanks to me, according to the internet. Thank you very much for that, internet. But wouldn't you rather be rescued by a guy called Romeo than a guy called Jonathan?
Yes, I had an amazing team, and I thank each and every one of you seriously for being there. Romeo
Ballantyne, a great hero, always, every night here. Cameron, it's great to have you. So let's get to the serious stuff here. I want to play a quick clip of President Trump defending this issue of the Qatari plane as a gift. Here's the president.
We've secured that part of the world for many years. So if somebody makes a gift, and I'm not getting, I get nothing. I get to fly it like any other president would. Ultimately, it'll be at the end of its lifetime or at the end of the term, because we're going to have the other ones in by that time.
So, Cameron, is this much ado about nothing and all the brouhaha over this plane?
Well, look, I think President Trump is taking the right stance on this issue, and I'm just glad that we actually have a president that's able to answer the tough questions and who is being transparent, unlike President Biden was. President Trump has accomplished more than in this term than Biden has in his 4 years combined with his presidency. We saw this on his trip, demanding respect on a global stage. We had the Crown Prince welcoming President Trump, defying protocol just to welcome him. So I'm glad that we have a president who is, maintaining global dominance and restoring respect for Americans.
Ali Beth, let me play a clip from Chuck Schumer here on what he views as the plane gift. He calls it more bribery. Listen here.
This is an issue of outright bribery and a serious issue of national security as well. To let any foreign country donate, quote unquote, a 747 that is the presidential plane, Air Force One. That's the most sophisticated plane in the world, more than any other plane.
What do you make of that complaint?
Unfortunately, Democrats have been crying wolf about Trump's national security threats and his corruption for a very long time. We saw that with his last term. We're seeing this with this term as well. And none of them have ever been proven right. In fact, they've all been proven wrong. And this is just another example of that. As you said, it is much ado about nothing. Trump is trying to figure out how he can appease, how he can please his allies in the region to help us with Iran. And so he is figuring out how this is part of that calculation. This is a non-story as far as I'm concerned.
All right, let's get to something that isn't perhaps a non-story, Cameron. This conflict or confrontation at the ICE facility between some Democrats and some ICE officials. Our own Chad Pergram talked to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries today about what might happen if any arrests are forthcoming. Here's that exchange.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do? I mean,
what
recourse? I mean, but doesn't that broach a?
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across?
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I mean, I know we have the speech.
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke.
Cameron, how did you see that? Was that a legitimate free speech and protest by members of Congress, or did they go far too far?
Well, I think that this just goes to show why President Trump was elected in the first place. Democrats completely defy law and order, and we're seeing Democrats prioritize illegal immigrants over law-abiding American citizens. And it's insulting as an American to have elected representatives prioritize the conditions of illegal immigrants over those who are lawfully residing in this country.
Ali Beth, how did you see that confrontation?
Oh, this was such an embarrassing show. It was absolute theater. If they really cared about what was going on there, all they had to do was call up the facility and say, hey, we're Congress people. We would like to tour the facility and see what's going on. They would have been allowed in. Instead, they wanted to make it into a viral social media moment. They don't actually even care about those illegal immigrants. And they also, yes, don't care about American citizens, but what they really care about is their own reputation for being some kind of bulldozers for the progressive cause, when really it was just clownery.
And Ali Beth, I'll stick with you. I got 20 seconds for each of you here. Inflation numbers look pretty good today. All those naysayers who said the economy was in the... I won't say where they said it was, but it's looking a lot better than the naysayers thought. Ali Beth.
Of course, we are already seeing the fruit of Trump's tariff plan. Again, the Democrats cried wolf about this. They said it was going to tank our economy. We were never going to recover. We are already seeing the recovery, and I think we'll continue to.
Cameron?
I agree. I believe that President Trump is somebody, if he's going to make a promise, he's going to keep it. He's doing the art of the deal. He's doing what he does best, focusing on the economy. And we're just going to see these numbers keep declining with his policies.
Cameron Kinsey, great to see you. Ali Beth Stuckey, thank you for being here too. Great to have you both with us tonight.
And choices we got in life, those were your choices. Who shot who? Somebody got shot? Oh, y'all good? Good.
The faces are priceless. Okay, Barney Fife. Okay, Barney Fife. Your pants are so tight. I don't know how you got the gun in there to begin with. That's a miracle in and of itself. And then what was the point of trying to take the gun out? Like, what's the point of that? Are you going to try to flash it around, show off? If I was like rich, I would try to start a huge organization where you got employers who would be willing to hire people who are unhireable because they've said something politically incorrect or whatever. I would have a lot of startup money for these people, jobs, places to live. Basically just start your own community for the cancel. Because then people wouldn't be so scared to speak out because they'd be like, well, you know what? If I say what I mean and I get fired for it, it's not over because there's a fallback plan. But there's no fallback plan. You know, conservatives, they'll eat you alive because conservatives are full of I'm actually embarrassed I ever consider myself conservative now. I am a nationalist, okay? Conservatives, they're the biggest pussies ever. Moving on to